Well, we've got a lot of talent on the ice tonight and a lot of players that you're going to be keeping a close eye on. Starting with JJ Peterka, over 2.5 shots on goal, even money here. What kind of shot volume do you expect from him tonight?
Yeah, JJ Peterka, who ironically came from Buffalo this offseason and joined the Utah Mammoth. He had 8 shots on goal in his last game, a career high. He has 13 shots on goal in his last 3 games. That's a great trend. There, he's playing a Boston Bruins team, which is probably towards the end of will probably end the year towards the end of the conference. They give up a ton of shots on goal. Peterka is very familiar with the opponent from his time in Buffalo. They used to be division rivals. So that value to me looks pretty spicy. Peterka has also been promoted to the first line, so he's going to get a ton of ice time up there. He plays on the first power play unit for Utah also, which is a really high scoring team. So that value looks nice to me. I'd grab Peterka for his shot prop.
Speaking of also a lot of shot volume, what role does Columbus's defensive coverage allow for high volume shots like this?
Yeah, Columbus is bottom 3. I see that game between Columbus and Anaheim being what they call a high event game, meaning lots of scoring chances, lots of opportunities for shots on goal, and lots of goals. Cutter Gauthier for the Anaheim Ducks. We saw him yesterday score a goal at MSG. He's top 3 and he's top 10 in goals, and he's top 3 in shots on goal and shot attempts this year for the Ducks. He's an elite shooter. He doesn't need a lot of room to get shots on goal. And Columbus will, if they allow it, if they play their game that like I'm used to, they're going to give up a lot of shots. And Gauthier should be another player who's been promoted to the first line too. He's playing with Leo Carlsson tonight for Anaheim. He's a player. Carlson's a great setup man. He's a great playmaker, and I see Gauthier getting a ton of shots on net tonight.
Notice I did not address his last name because I knew it was something hockey fancy that I was not going to be able to pronounce. So go with the over 3.5 shots on goal. I love the name Cutter, though. It's like Cutter Crawford in the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Dmitry Voronkov, he's going anytime goal scorer for him against Anaheim. How come he's going to get the shots on goal nonetheless, be able to score?
Yeah, Anaheim played last night in MSG, kind of a tough schedule to turn around after getting an emotional win yesterday. We saw Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba of old Rangers join, who joined Anaheim recently, go back to MSG, and they got an emotional win. I could see a little bit of a letdown from Anaheim defensively, which is a team that's not that great defensively to begin with. And Dmitry Voronkov is a huge, massive human being. He parks his butt right in front of the net. I love players like that. They score goals and shoot from right in front of the net. So Voronkov has some great value. He's another player promoted to the first line recently, playing with great line mates, seeing a lot of ice time. I could see him definitely scoring the goals tonight. He has 3 goals in his last 5 games. He looks like he's a player who's heating up, and that's great value for him. I think he was plus 225 for anytime goal scorer. That's great value when you can get it.
I know the chat was asking about those New York Rangers. We'll get to the game in a second. However, for points, what stands out the most about going up against this Rangers defense and over for Ziv Byam?
Bouillon. That was pretty good. Yeah, that was very close. Ziv Bouillon was in exchange for Quinn Hughes. Vancouver got Ziv Bouillon, who's a highly touted prospect that was drafted by Minnesota. The Rangers have given up goals to defensemen in 3 straight games. They're playing in MSG tonight. We've talked about this before. The Rangers at home is, from a data analyst standpoint, I just don't understand it. They outplay teams. They get more shots to the net. They play really well. And then you look at the scoreboard at the end of it, and they're usually losing, and they're usually giving up a lot of goals. So I can't really explain it. I just have to follow the trends that maybe aren't on the surface level, and maybe looking underneath. I like Vancouver here. I like this spot for them. The Rangers played last night and had a little bit of a letdown where Vancouver's coming in here. Maybe, whenever there's a big trade in the locker room, there's usually extra juice for that team coming in and playing at MSG, the world's most famous arena. Ziv Bouillon, I believe it's his first regular season game at MSG. I could see him definitely getting a point tonight.
Well, that was the question that I think J-Main34 asked was, are the Rangers still a fade playing a back-to-back?
I might. I just can't. I don't really have a great explanation for it. Again, you look at all the underlying numbers that I know bettors like to look at before making bets. Everything suggests that the Rangers are a better team. They're better. They're outplaying teams on home ice, just like they're outplaying teams on at home on the road, excuse me. But something's just not clicking. They're not finishing. There's generating a ton of chances, and it's usually shots right to the goalie's chest, shooting wide or missing the net entirely. Yeah, I would fade the Rangers. Again, a second half of a back-to-back is not tired legs to begin with, and Vancouver just got to sit home and watch that game last night. I kind of like the Canucks here in that situation.
My agent texted me. He said he wants to come to New York and take me to a Rangers game because he loves hockey. I said, I don't think that sounds like it's good, but okay. I love Rangers games. They're so fun, but not when they suck. And if I don't sing the goal song, I'm going to be upset. Joseph Rodriguez, I'll get to your questions in a second or talk about what you like tonight. But Stuart Skinner, over 24.5 saves against Edmonton. What kind of shot profile does Edmonton usually generate against these opposing goalies?
Yeah, Ariel, you know that Edmonton has two of the five best players in the world in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Also, Edmonton since Thanksgiving has looked like the Edmonton of old that we expected from them at the start of the year, a team that's made the Stanley Cup final 2 straight years. They're top 10 in expected goals. They're top 5 in generating scoring chances. They've been top 5 in generating shot attempts all year. So I expect this to be a spot where Edmonton's going to go against a goaltender that they're very familiar with, right? They've been going against Stuart Skinner in practice probably for the last couple of years. And to see him in a different colored uniform, it will look a little different. But I just see Edmonton getting a ton of shots on net. Pittsburgh will give up a lot of shots. And I think Stuart Skinner is going to he's going to be under siege. And maybe he's a little bit motivated. Maybe he wants to make a lot of chances we'll have a lot of chances to make saves, and maybe he does that. But I definitely like his over for a save prop here.
Ben Kindle.
Ben Kindle, yeah. I like to give you a little bit of a sharp.
Well, my Kindle is spelled Ellie, so Kindle. Sorry, guys in the chat. I literally am so open about the fact I don't know hockey, so bear with me. I know a lot of other sports. Hockey's not one of them. Ben Kindle, under 1.5 shots on goal. How come this matchup is going to limit him?
Yeah, Edmonton's a pretty good defensive team, and Ben Kindle is playing on the second line. The Pittsburgh Penguins lost Evgeny Malkin last week he was placed on injured reserve, and Ben Kindle has slid into that second center spot behind Sidney Crosby for the Penguins. I just think Edmonton's a really strong defensive team. They limit chances. The only times that Edmonton seems to give up a lot of chances is when they're killing penalties, and Ben Kindle's wasn't on the power play one. Maybe he gets moved there tonight, and then I'll look silly. But as long as he's not on the power play, I don't think Ben Kindle gets a ton of shots or chances to shoot the puck tonight, and therefore I like his under.